Okay. Let me get to my stuff here. Some of you are familiar with Canvas and some of you are not. We're just gonna go through this slideshow. I'll show you some examples. Actually, I guess the agenda says we're gonna start with examples. So let's do that. So I'll just kind of show you, here's what Canvas looks like. Mind you, I have a lot more classes than what you're gonna have because I have every class in the building, okay? So this is what your Canvas will look like. Each class will have its own different thing here. When you go into them right now, they're not gonna have anything in them. So if I open up one right now, it's gonna look like this, okay? Now, just to give you guys some examples, I'll show you what, let's go ahead and hop into my music class from last year. So this is what music looked like last year when we were virtual. This is what the students saw. So it kind of just looks like this. I have little buttons down at the bottom where they can click on their grade. And when clicking on their grade, it takes them to whatever activity it was that we were doing that day. If I go into my reading class, let me get out of the student view here. And I go into reading class. My reading class looked like this here. Same kind of setup. They have different buttons down here at the bottom where they can go to different things. We'll talk about what you need to have on your page as we go through our meeting today. So let's kind of jump back over to, if I can get that out of my way. Here we go. So setting up Canvas. So what is Canvas? Canvas is our online classroom. How to get to Canvas. You're going to go to the internet. That is your homepage that it automatically takes you to. From there, you're going to click on Clever. You're going to log in with Google. Then you're going to push Canvas. You're going to log in with Google. Everything you do, you log in with Google. Okay, log in with Google. So what needs to be on our Canvas page? You need to have navigational tools. That is going to vary from age group to age group. So our little ones probably going to have less of the side panel bars navigating and more of like a button that they can push that takes them to wherever they need to go. You need to have your Zoom link and your password readily available. You need to have it printed on there and also a button that they can push that will take them to their Zoom link. You need to have your password wrote out there so that they know what the passcode is. You need to have a daily schedule for your students, so what they can expect during the day, when they need to be on meetings with you, what class they're supposed to be in. You need to have contact information that is easily accessible. So don't bury it 12 pages deep, have it on that home page, however you communicate with your kids. And you need to have your assignments or lessons linked to the main calendar. For some, that's as simple as adding a due date. So when we are working in Canvas, your best friend will be your Sandbox. So most grades are already working collaboratively together for lessons. So what a Sandbox is going to do is allow you to continually work collaboratively as your grade levels and have just a center point that's there where you all can work. It's not going to affect what the students see. So it's not published for the students, so they're not going to have access to it. So it's going to make it the perfect place to brainstorm and to work without fear of messing anything up for your students. The other bonus part about Sandboxes is that they do not go away. Most of your other classes, once district takes it off, it's gone. So keep your stuff in your Sandbox. Sandboxes are easily uploadable into your main class and your students are enrolled to. And so you can upload the entire class or you can upload just a module, just a lesson, however you need to upload it to your classroom. So we're gonna have time at the end of our presentation today to be able to work collaboratively with our groups or by yourself. However you guys are doing online, you'll have time to work on it. So when we're setting up our Sandbox, if you are working collaboratively, only one person needs to set up a Sandbox. So you're going to set up the Sandbox. I'll show you here in just a second. So it says on the right-hand side of your dashboard, you're going to see a button for start a new course. Then you will create a course associated with John Glenn, name your course Sandbox. From there, it's going to automatically take you to a course settings page. Then on the left side, you're going to find people, and that's where you can add it. So this is what that looks like. If I am over in my dashboard, this is where it automatically takes you when you log into Canvas. Right over here, I have start a new course. I can push start a new course. It says which account's going to be using it. We want to use John Glenn Elementary. Course name, name it Sandbox. Oop, if I can spell. Sandbox and push create. Now it's made my Sandbox course. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to people right here on the side, click on people, and then I can add a person right here. You have to use their Western Heights email to add them in. If you don't use their Western Heights, they're not going to have the privileges because they're not in the Western Heights network. So be sure you use their Western Heights email. If they do not have a teacher role, they will not be able to edit. So make sure they have a teacher role, and then you can add them in there. Okay, back to our little presentation here. So things that are needed on the Canvas page, you need to have navigational tools. So this is going to vary based upon your grade level, like we already talked about, and how much freedom you're going to give your students. Canvas provides us with several pre-programmed navigational tools on our left side panel. However, not all of these tools are necessary for everyone's classes. So you can edit which pre-programmed tool your students have access to by going to settings, navigation, which is found on the top bar, and then dragging and dropping the navigations to make them visible or hidden to the students, as well as reordering them for ease of access. For younger students, you may need to make all navigational tools hidden and create buttons for your students on the home page. For more information about buttons, there's going to be a resource video called Making a Button. It's a video that I sent out when we first did virtual stuff. So it's the same video. All the videos are recycled from the 2020-2021 year. So old information that's there, but the same information will be applicable regardless of where you want the buttons to take you. Okay, so when we are talking about navigational tools, inside of your Canvas page, you're going to go down to the settings. This is inside a class. And then you'll be able to go up to the top and click on the navigation, which sits right here. And then I can reorder things. The only thing that you are not able to reorder is the home button. That one is stationary. You cannot remove it. So no matter where I try to drag it to, it doesn't move. For my music class, I found it easiest to take all of those buttons off and just have a button that I put on there that takes them to the calendar if they need to go there. But generally for music, they didn't need that, but you may need it whenever you're doing your homeroom classes. Okay, go back to our slideshow. Next thing that you need to have your Zoom. So Zoom links and passwords will be required on all Canvas pages. So I would suggest creating a reoccurring Zoom meeting and bookmarking the Zoom meeting to make it easily accessible for yourself. Once you have created your reoccurring Zoom meeting, you will need to put that information onto your page. This will be on your individual page and not in the Sandbox. If you put it into the Sandbox and then you import the data from the Sandbox, every kiddo that's using a teacher that has the Sandbox is going to end up in the same Zoom meeting. So if I've got Miss Pappas and Miss Bumpus in the Sandbox together and they upload that into the same place, all of their kids are going to end up in the same Zoom meeting, and whoever was the last one in the Sandbox is probably whose meeting it's going to be. So just make sure that you add your Zoom stuff into your individual page, not your Sandbox page. So you can use a button or a hyperlink and make sure that the password is also visible on your Canvas page. So setting up a recurring Zoom meeting, you're going to go to zoom.com. You're going to sign in using Google. You're going to schedule a meeting and then be sure that you check the recurring meeting box and save. So if I am at zoom.com, it's going to look like this. It's going to have you sign in. Mine's already signed in because I'm in a meeting. And then there'll be a button here that says to schedule a meeting. It won't let me schedule one because I'm in a meeting. And then there's a little box underneath where you're going to put in, it says to put in what date you want your meeting at. There's going to be a little box right underneath it. And it says, if it's a recurring meeting, check this box. You'll check that box. You'll pick what days and what times your meeting happens. And then it'll recur however many times that you say. And I think you can set it either for a time period or a number of times the meeting takes place. And then you'll just take that information and put it onto your page. So for mine, I have this little button up here at the top. It says the live, that's where their link is. They click on that and their passcode is right there. That took them directly into my Zoom meeting. Same thing whenever I was on the music page. If I go back to the home screen, it was working where if you just clicked on the page itself, it would take you into the Zoom meeting. It's turned off right now though. So just make sure they have a way to get to your Zoom. Okay, jumping back over to our slideshow. So a daily schedule, you're going to need to have a daily schedule available to the students to help them along the way virtually. Be sure to include when they go to their SFA, their specials, or other subjects that are live, as well as listing any times that you're going to be available on Zoom with them or their parents about any questions they may be having. So when we did virtual before, we all had office hours that had to be posted on there. We were in a Zoom meeting. Kids just popped in during office hours. Each teacher kind of handled that a little bit differently depending on what their schedule looked like. So your daily schedule, you can upload it as a photo on there. You can just simply type it in. I would always make it on a page in Google Slides, and then I could save that as an image and then just upload that image directly. It gave me a lot of editability there. I could just edit however I wanted to. So whatever's easiest and most appealing to you. Again, these are your pages, so do them how you want. Things that are needed on a Canvas page with contact information. So you need to have your contact information on your Canvas page. I had mine set up with a little button in the corner. It said contact me. If they pressed that, it had my email that was there. It also had a direct link to be able to message me inside of Canvas. So in your contact information, you're going to want to have your email, your office hours, texting, however you communicate with your students and parents. So if you communicate with parents on a third-party application like Class Dojo, ensure that all of your students and parents have access to that and are able to communicate with you easily through that, and clarify on your page that that's how you want to be communicated with. Okay, don't just assume that they know, because they don't know. Assignments and lessons linked to the calendar. So as you put an assignment into Canvas, assign it a due date. That's going to automatically put it into the calendar. If you do not have a due date for an assignment, you can manually go into the calendar and add whatever it is that's there and add a link onto it. It's just going to take playing around with it and kind of figuring out what works best for you. The calendar is what the students use at a glance to see what they have due that day. So it's really important that you put everything into the calendar, because if you say, oh, well, you should have been on the page and done this, that, and the other, what the calendar does is allow them to go to a central page for all of their classes and just click on it and go, click on it and go. So if you don't have it in the calendar, they might not know it exists. Okay. Moving an assignment, module, or class from Sandbox to main. So on the main dashboard of the class, you want to move into, so not in your Sandbox, you're in your actual main class. You're going to click on Import Existing Content button on the right navigational panel, copy a Canvas class, click on your Sandbox, and then you can either pick all content, specific content, depending on what you're moving. Sometimes you're moving the entire class over when you're first setting it up. Sometimes you're just going to move over one lesson. It just depends on what you need to move from the Sandbox at your own pace. So when you're doing that, what that looks like is in your home page here. So I'm in my home page. For whatever reason, I'm going to move into my Sandbox. I'm going to say import existing content. It's right over here on the side. Import content, content type, content from a Canvas course. You're going to click on that. Select the course. I'm just going to pick that I want to bring all of my reading stuff into it. And I'm going to say, I'm going to bring my entire class over. So I'm going to click all content over there, import. It's going to give you this little thing. It's going to say it's queued. Sometimes it'll go really quick. Sometimes it's going to sit there and spin for 20 minutes. Just let it do its thing. It will do it. It will do it. If you interrupt it, you run the risk of losing a lot of things. So just let it do its thing. Be patient. See, now it says it's completed. So if I click my home button now, everything from my class, except that I don't have a home screen set up there, would have been there. Choose a home page real quick. Oh, I don't know what this first. Oh, my front page. Okay, I have no idea what it's doing. Anywhoosies, usually it'll do what it's supposed to do. If you go into pages, you have to assign a home page to it. I think I uploaded a class that didn't actually have anything into it is what I did. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what I did. So hold on, let's just import a different class. Let's go and upload music, all content, import. I think that's my class from right now, and there's nothing in there because we haven't done online stuff. So it says that it's running. You'll sometimes get this bar here. Like I say, just be patient. Don't interrupt it. It'll go. Maybe. There it goes. Doodle doo 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 doo. Patience is a virtue with Canvas, I promise. Okay, now that it says completed, now we go back to the home screen, and now it's all there. Everything is there. So as long as you are pulling, you can pull specific content, you can pull all content, whatever's easiest for you, whatever needs to be done. I think that we figured out while we were doing it before, we had another music teacher and we were sharing content and we would just upload the entire class every single time. I think we did figure out about halfway through the virtual learning that we could upload just a module or just a lesson. So if you have questions on that, there's plenty of people around that were experienced with Canvas that can help you with it too. Moving back to our Canvas stuff here. Simple is better. Do not go crazy with creativity. You're going to want to be creative. I'm telling you, we got like a good solid week to work on Canvas. I had my page so pretty, so many buttons. It was amazing. It was confusing. Don't do it. Don't do it. Kids will get lost. They get so lost so easy. So students easily get lost in an ocean of buttons. So make it easy and make it fun. Always remember to publish. If you do not publish it, the kids cannot see it. And keep in mind that the layout from a Chromebook to a desktop to an iPad, they are all different. So you might have to cross-check your page and make sure there's nothing weird happening. Sometimes images won't show up that you see on your computer. It won't show up on an iPad for whatever reason. So just double check that everything is working. To publish, there is the little button right over here on your dashboard. It'll tell you when something is not published. So right here, and then you have the little button right here that says publish. Also, if you have a date set on it, a start date, it is not visible to the students until that start date happens. And then it becomes no longer available to the students after the close date of it. So be aware of those dates that you're putting on things. So if you put a due date on there and it says your due date is Friday and a kiddo wants to try to do it on Saturday, they're not going to be able to get into it. Okay, so just keep it open, or figure out which settings work best for you, or communicate with your kids about when all their assignments are due. All right, moving on. So what do you need to have for January 12th? You need to have a functioning sandbox and a main page with clear navigational tools, the schedule. You need to also post your rules and procedures, just like you have posted in your classroom. Your Canvas is becoming your classroom if we go virtual. So everything that you would typically have posted in your classroom, have posted in your Canvas page. You need to have your Zoom link and passwords and your contact information. When we talk about expectations, that is also what you expect them to do in a Zoom meeting. So if you want everyone's cameras on, have that wrote out there. If you want everybody to have, they need to have a shirt on, you need to make sure they fully clothed. It is a problem. Make sure you write about it, okay? So anything that you feel like could happen, just clarify it. Just clarify it. So although you do not need to have assignments uploaded, the more prepared that you are for the unexpected, the easier the transition is going to be. So if you have assignments that you can upload, go ahead and link those onto your calendar. And most importantly, practice with your students over the next few days or weeks on how to get to your Canvas page, how to navigate through your Canvas page, how to log into Zoom, what you expect on Zoom. Just really familiarize them with that, because the kids got thrown into it before and nobody had a clue. So really work with them, give them that one-on-one time if they need, or as a class, just have everybody, okay, let's all log into Canvas really quick. We have this little virtual assignment that we're going to do as a class. You all have computers and you've got your iPads. You can do a quick little assignment on there, even if it's not anything you take for a grade. If you need any help, feel free to reach out at any time. My door is always open for you. If you need to send me a text, send me a text. If you need to pick up the phone and call me, call me. You want to send me an email, email me. For the most part, I'll answer. Unless you send me a crazy message at like midnight. I go to bed at like 9, so past 9 o'clock, you're probably not going to get me. Okay. So there are some resource videos that are inside of this. I'm not going to play them because one of them is a good solid 30 minutes long. Nobody wants to sit through that. But if you need that extra one-on-one on using Nearpod inside of Canvas, using it as an external tool, or making those buttons, there are some videos that were made before. Also, there are so many resources online that you can find. There is an elementary Canvas page on Facebook. There are billions of videos on YouTube. Any question that you have, someone else probably had it and somebody else probably made a video about it. So scroll YouTube, scroll Facebook, there's groups everywhere. Just ask around, get the help that you need. You can find pretty much anything. So at this time, I'm gonna let y'all work on your Sandbox pages. Remember, you can't leave the building until 3:15. Yes.
After you're done
yes.
recording, I need to say something before anything happens. So.
Okay, perfect. Are there any questions before I turn recording off? I will be sending you the recording of this PD. I will also be sending you this PowerPoint presentation. You all have a checklist on your agenda that you can use to check off the things that you have done, so that whenever you go into that meeting on the 12th for your team meetings, you know that you have everything ready to go. Any questions at all? All right. we're gonna go ahead and stop.